Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're gonna get started in a few minutes, so just hang in there. Okay, everyone, looks like we're at the top of the hour, so we can go ahead and get started here. Um, Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Michael Schmidt, and I am a Bluebeam sales specialist here at Microsol Resources. I'm joining you today from Boston. With me today is David Spurgel. He is our Bluebeam certified instructor, and David will be presenting the technical presentation of today's presentation. Hello, David. We are joined by my colleagues today, Brenda, who is our training and marketing coordinator. Hi, Brenda. As well as Annalisa, who just stepped out. She had another call coming in, and she is our director of marketing. I also want to introduce the rest of the Bluebeam team, as some of you may have worked with them. John Bullock is our Bluebeam sales support, or is our Bluebeam account executive for New York, as well as the rest of the US. Mary Ortega is our Bluebeam renewal specialist. And if you need to reach any of us, you can email us at bluebeam@microsolresources.com. We have a very jam-packed office hours today, and I know a lot of questions will be getting asked. So we will record this session to rewatch and share with your colleagues, and you will be able to view it on our YouTube channel. So what is our relationship with Bluebeam? Microsol Resources is a Bluebeam Platinum partner, the highest level of Bluebeam partner program. We offer a best-in-class customer service, Bluebeam product knowledge, technical support, and training. We help our clients from onboarding, review, technical support, training, and access to webinars like these today, and sharing Bluebeam policy changes as well as tips and tricks. In addition to being a Bluebeam Platinum partner, we're a premier Autodesk partner for over 35 years. We work with the best of design and construction technology solutions, and we have curated a suite of software applications for our clients. We've partnered with a list of companies that you see here. As a Bluebeam partner, we want to let you know that the upcoming Bluebeam changes may affect you. and then we can how the Bluebeam changes may affect you, and then we can dive into the tips and tricks of Bluebeam and find out about the latest features with Review 21. Before we can do that, I have to share this disclaimer. Bluebeam's product strategy and roadmap reflects their current development priorities and general direction. It is shared for informational purposes only, and this roadmap is subject to change at Bluebeam's discretion based on market and customer demand. So most of you should know, but the latest version of Bluebeam is Review 21. If you are interested in a free 30-day Bluebeam review trial, you can download it at bluebeam.com/trial/Microsol resources. So whether you are new or want to become a power user of Review, or you want to optimize a company-wide training, we can assist you to bridge your skills and knowledge gaps to both you and your team members. We offer live and in-person training. We offer customized training for custom workflows or in-house standards. And if you are interested in Bluebeam training, you can reach out to Brenda. So today's agenda is we'll be sharing the news of Bluebeam's update to the SaaS model. If you guys have any questions, you can type them down below in the chat and we will either address them in the chat or live. We will be recording today's webinar. If you have any questions, you can also send them to bluebeam@microsolresources.com. And you can also join us for our future Bluebeam hours, which will be planned. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Bluebeam transition to subscription, which is the SaaS model. As of September 2022, Bluebeam announced its business transformation, which was the release of Bluebeam Cloud, a new suite of mobile and browser-based solutions available globally as part of a new subscription plan. The current state of technology makes it difficult to innovate on legacy code requiring heavy and inconsistent releases. It's strenuous to manage and complicated to know the internal Bluebeam usage and deployment. This is why Bluebeam is moving towards a cloud data-centric portfolio. To deliver this best, they're using a SaaS model, an integration Bluebeam cloud environment with complementary programs and workflow applications. So right now, the current state of Bluebeam, they had just gotten rid of the perpetual licenses and now are working through the subscription model. Bluebeam introduced this on September 20th, 2022, and they're currently working on creating ways to work through the licenses. So 2023 through 2025, Bluebeam will add more robust cloud and data-centric workflows, and 2024 through 2025, customer workflows will be fully cloud and data-centric. So in terms of the new subscription plan, let's talk about your options. So option A, if you want to take advantage of Bluebeam's latest technology and cloud data-centric offerings, you can convert your maintenance seats under existing contract to subscription at your current renewal rate. With option A, if you migrate to subscription, you will get access to new web and mobile Bluebeam cloud solutions that complement Bluebeam Review on desktop. Bluebeam Cloud enables you to mark up and collaborate on project documents and manage punch, RFIs, and submittals on the go. You will get access to enhanced services such as geolocational insight, user activity tracking, and revamped APIs. You will get access to Bluebeam University, which is on demand, included at no additional cost. For option B, you can continue with your perpetual license and annual maintenance agreement. You will continue to receive updates for review 20 while it is still supported until March of 2024. And as an existing customer, you will also have the option to buy additional perpetual licenses until Q3 2023 if you choose so. Please note the version 20 will last perpetual license. Please note the version 20 will be the last perpetual license of review. Anything after will be subscription model. Maintenance already purchased before Q3 2023 will run to the end of length of its contract. If you have any seats that are not currently on maintenance, you will need to purchase maintenance before you can transition to the subscription model at your current renewal rate. So next we'll talk about the new tiers with the subscription model. So as many of you may know, the old tiers of Bluebeam were standard, CAD, and extreme. And it's set up a similar way in basic, core, and complete. You can see the varying features here. And if you have any questions on any of these features, David can can show you them later in the presentation. So here are Bluebeam plans by use case segment. By use case and segment, we can help identify the right mix of plans for your company based on your needs. So you may have some employees that will only be utilizing the basic features while having other employees that will be utilizing the complete features. So all the plans include Bluebeam Review on desktop, Bluebeam Review Cloud, and on web and mobile, as well as services designed to boost productivity. In addition, Bluebeam University is now part of Bluebeam subscriptions, which is a great tool for self-guided and on-demand training. So when you guys onboard a new client, Bluebeam University will automatically be on their license. Again, David will cover some of these features. And lastly, on to the path forward and how we as Microsol Resources can be here to help. If you're wondering, where can we get this new technology and when do we need to make this decision by? Bluebeam subscription and new technology and services we discussed are now available. You ultimately have until Q 2023 to make this decision. However, transitioning earlier means you can take advantage of the price incentive for trading in your perpetual licenses for subscription licenses at the current renewal rate. Note that you will not lose access to your perpetual license or older versions of review, even after you transition to subscription. This will help minimize the disruption of your active projects. So we've covered all these new changes with Bluebeam, your options, and a path forward with your licenses. I'm now going to pass it on to David for the Q&A session of the webinar.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you for the little introduction and little preface on the new subscription model. So basically, this is our open-ended office hours Q&A session. All of this is driven by questions coming from you guys, our attendees. So feel free to ask whatever questions you might have in the Q&A, little Q&A box, and I will do my best to get to them. I try to answer them first in, first out. Of course, I may skip around a little bit if it's relevant to what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, feel free to ask whatever questions you have. All of this content is from you guys, and we're here to answer your questions. So first question that I got is asking about digital signatures and certification of documents. Robert says we're having issues with recipients seeing that the signatures and or certifications are verified. That is a good question. So let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so now everyone can see, should be able to see my Bluebeam screen. Right, I wouldn't be a webinar if it wasn't someone asking, "Can you see my screen?" So just wanted to get confirmation everyone can see my screen. Thank you, Brenda. Just make sure I'm not crazy, at least not about this. So the digital signatures you can find here in the digital signatures panel, or from Tools, Signature. I would probably need a little bit more information about what the situation is, because digital signatures can be a little bit finicky. So I go to Tools, Trusted Identities. So here I have my information, or here's my okay. So I can't select digital IDs. You know what? I might have to answer this one offline, Robert. Just because I've actually seem to be having some issues with signatures myself. I don't know if that's something reflective of the new version, but or some issue on my end. But I need to check on that. So Robert, I'll hook up with you after the webinar, and we can discuss your situation. Erin is asking. Erin did ask about. So she got a cloud subscription and she logged in, but it's still labeled as unpaid in Bluebeam. So I'm going to use this opportunity to address kind of the larger subscription questions, or some of the larger subscription questions that we've been getting, which is okay. So I bought the license. How do I get it? I log into Review 21, and it still says unpaid over here, and most likely the reason is because you have to assign the license to yourself in order to access the license. So in a change to how it's been done previously with the serial numbers and product keys, Bluebeam is now having everyone log in, but in addition to that, they need to be assigned the license. Just, if you guys were familiar with the Autodesk named user system, where you have all the licenses in a central admin portal, you will then have to go and assign the licenses to yourself. Let me see if I might be able to show that. Give me 1 second, and I'll answer another question while I'm seeing if I can log in. All right, Daniel is asking, will any of these changes affect the iOS review for iPad offering? No, they should not have any impact on the iOS app that you can get in the App Store. It shouldn't have any bearing on that. In addition, with the new Bluebeam Cloud, you will be able to access some of the Bluebeam tools via your browser. So in addition to just the iPad app, you can use the Bluebeam Cloud, kind of web app to access that, some certain tools through your browser. So you can use that on an Android phone, on an iPhone. So you have a little bit more versatility there as well. Okay, so Lauren is asking, in Bluebeam Studio, is it possible to have the owner be able to edit all markups? Okay, so what Lauren is referring to is if you're in a studio session, So let me hop into my test session here. If you're in a session and I'm looking at this, so okay, yeah, this is my test session. So this is my markup. This is my markup. This is not. So someone else placed these markups, and she wants to know if it's possible to have the owner edit all markups. And the short answer to that question is no, because that would. So the point of or the idea behind the sessions is to maintain accountability and traceability for the markups. They don't want a situation where someone edits someone else's markup and that isn't necessarily traceable, or you don't know who did what. So what I would suggest is to either make a comment on the markup and ask the attendee to change the markup. I think that would probably be the protocol way of doing something like that. Like if you see a change that you want to have made to something that someone marked up, then comment on the markup, ask them to make the change. So for example, if I wanted to change this, I would right click and I would select reply, and I'll say, please edit this markup. Boom. And then that will show up in your markup list as this reply here. Oops. And you can see that I wrote it. And if I wanted to, I could even right click, choose to alert the attendee to change it. Now, are there certain situations where you might need to take control of another user's markups? There are. So what you could do in that situation is if you log into the Bluebeam Studio on your browser. So if you go to studio.bluebeam.com, what you could do is you could essentially remove users from the session, and when you remove users from the session, you take ownership of their markups. But this only applies to the session owner, which I guess answers your question, because is it possible to have the owner able to edit all the markups? That's what you want to know. So short answer is no. Long answer is yes, kind of, not really. Let's see. Vincent is asking, once a PDF is converted to a TIFF, can it be made transparent? I don't know about going from PDF to TIFF, since Bluebeam is a primarily a PDF application. But if I go to like this, if I export this as a TIFF, then you could probably open that in another image editor like Photoshop or GIMP or something, and then make it transparent. But what you could also do is Bluebeam has the ability to do some pretty basic color processing. So let's take what would be a good example? Let's see. Well, let's just open that up. It's color processing. So what you could do is under process type, you can select mask images, and what that will do is that will give you the ability to choose a color that's in the document and essentially make that the alpha layer. So for example, if I choose white over here, you can see that the entire document is turned transparent. And you can add some tolerance to the color, or for example, like if I were to take like black. Okay, so obviously it doesn't work necessarily. This isn't necessarily a good example, but you can use that tool to add transparency, and that's probably more useful when you have like an image or something that you need to add a transparency to. Like let's say, all right, yeah, here's a good example. Let me grab a snapshot of this portion of the drawing. And now I paste it here. Although it's already transparent. But anyway, you get the idea. If this were white, you could change the white layer to transparent with that color processing. Let's see if I can find a better example. Let's see. All right. In the meantime, I'll just answer another question. Madeline's asking, I understand there's no limit to combining open files, yet I tried to combine 14 different size files. However, it only processed half 7. Any thoughts? Why? Thank you. Well, don't thank me just yet, Madeline, because I'm not 100% sure why, because there should be a limit to the amount of documents you can combine at one time. So get with me after this webinar. Let's look into your specific situation, and I'll see if I can give some advice, because usually the process would be pretty simple. Is we go to file, combine, we select all open files, etc., and then hit OK. I'm not going to do that because this I have some big files in there. Maybe it's maybe if you are working with large files, it could be that you're hitting a RAM limit, or perhaps there's a lot of vector data in the files. It could be a case specific. So we'll address that offline. So Anon wants to know what the simplest way to seal engineering drawings. And yeah, the simplest way to stamp engineering drawings is with the aptly named stamp tool. So under tools, stamp, you can see we have a number of different stamps that are already preloaded. Of course, you can add your own stamp if you want to. So for example, I have my signature here added as a stamp. That way I can quickly add a digital version of my signature to a file. So, or I could use this seal. So let's use this seal as an example. Let's click this little pencil icon, and that will open it up for editing. So here is our stamp. So let's make this, let's fill this in with red. No, I don't like red. Let's make it, so I'm using the dynamic fill tool to fill all this space in. Okay, and then I'm going to add a polygon. And great, so I'm going to select that, and I want to make it red. Okay, cool. So now this is my customized seal of approval. I'm going to save it. There's save. Oh, there it is. Couldn't find save. So now it's saved. And if I go back to like my floor plan, then I could go to stamp, seal, and it will change your icon to this little stamp looking symbol. You just either click, or if you don't click, what you can do is you can click and drag, and that will let you change the size of the stamp. Now, if you had multiple stamps that you needed to make on multiple pages, what you could do is you could right click on the stamp once you place it and select oh, you know why? Because there's only one page here. So if I go back to this this example document, whoops, so add stamp seal here, right click, and then I can do apply to pages, and then you could apply it to every page. Okay. Gabe is asking, he says he started a studio session with some coworkers to review a document. Several coworkers added their markups, but mostly all of them are the same color in the doc. Am I able to select markups of just one person's and change the colors for their markups? So this kind of goes back to the previous question that I answered about changing ownership of some session participants markups. So not really, no. Although I guess you could, yeah. So here I'm in, well, this isn't a session. So if I go back to this session, yeah, I don't think you'll be able to, let's see. No, you cannot. As a consolation, what you could do is in the markup list, you could filter the list and then choose to filter it by particular authors, and then that will essentially gray out other users, but you won't be able to go in whole cloth and change their change the color. What you could do is you could ask them to to change the colors of all of their markups, which shouldn't be that onerous. For example, for if I just select mine in this one, I can just do, whoops, come on. Well, I guess you can't really change the color of everything at once just because of the different kinds of markups. Um, for example, some markups have like fill, some markups have text, colors. Um, but yeah, I think maybe the best thing to do would be to use the filter to filter out the markups that you didn't want to see, and do it that way. Or you can ask them to change the color, or both. I hope that helps. Um, Elijah is asking, what does moving to a cloud-based solution mean for opening files on an Office network or on your desktop? Are files being migrated to the cloud, or will they stay behind our firewalls? Also, does this mean that you will require an internet connection to open edit PDFs? So to clarify something, only the licensing has moved online. The rest of Bluebeam will work just as it's always worked. It's still a desktop application. You can still open files on your local machine. You don't have to connect to the internet at all, except to, register the license. So it doesn't change the way you are currently working in Bluebeam. So the studio will work the same. Local files will work the same. Nothing needs to be uploaded, and Bluebeam doesn't automatically upload things to the cloud. The only thing that is now online based is the licensing. So it's only it's still a desktop application. It still runs locally. There's no nothing cloud based there. You do have the options to share your tool sets online. You can upload those to the cloud, meaning that if you previously, if you opened up review on a colleague's computer, you would not have any of your tools or customizations or profiles, because those are stored in the local data folder. Now you have the option to upload certain customizations and tool sets to the cloud that will be attached to your account, so that when you when you log into Bluebeam on a colleague's computer, or maybe your computer at home, it will sync those tool sets and profiles. So that stuff will be cloud based, but it's not like it's all cloud based. It's just kind of keeping everything synced up. Now there is the offering of Bluebeam Cloud, which is a separate product that is a browser based markup system. So let me actually. So this is Bluebeam Cloud, and you'll notice that this doesn't really have any syncing to my my current Bluebeam at all. Like, these are just files that I uploaded. So if I open up this guy, which is the same file, you'll see that it's a totally different file. It's not necessarily synced, but it does let me add some basic markup tools to the document online, which could be useful. So it's a totally separate product, totally separate system. So nothing is changing as far as the way Bluebeam is currently working. Scott's asking, are there plans to further enhance the integration of Bluebeam with Autodesk's construction cloud platform? Currently, we can only access Bluebeam via Autodesk Desktop Connector, which has limitations in its syncing capabilities. Scott, that's a good question. I'm I'm actually not sure. I know that there are plans down the line to release a new API for Bluebeam, and specifically, along like with Studio Prime. Um, but so far, I don't have any information about the current plans. So stay tuned. Anon is asking, would it be possible to ask? That's anonymous, by the way. Would it be possible to ask our external consultants to upload their files into the studio project or studio session without Bluebeam license? Yes, it is possible to do that. So, but I do believe that you will need to uh, upload the files. So you can invite users to your project. The users in your project need to have a Bluebeam license to to check in or check out files from the project. But if they just send you the files, you can add them to the project. For sessions, it's a little different. For sessions, you can invite someone without a Bluebeam license to a session and give them permission to upload documents. So that's possible. But for projects, you need to be licensed in order to check in, check out, add documents, and whatnot. So a little bit different for each one. Scott is asking, can you speak to some of the API and reporting features and opportunities that come with the complete licensing option? Scott, so I'll use this opportunity to say that this transition has been, there's a lot of questions for everybody, and by that I mean a lot of this stuff we as resellers are just seeing for the first times too. So I'll be honest and say that I have not seen what those reporting features are. I'm not 100% positive if they've even been rolled out yet, but yeah, I'll take a look into that and see if I can post a blog article or something on those reporting features, because I'm not sure where exactly those would be. So Vincent's saying, oh, this is following up on his previous question about adding the transparency. So he wants to make the background transparent. So, okay, so let me go back to that. So let's take, let me open up a better document. Let's see. All right, bear with me while I dig through stuff. Hold on. Oops. Okay, well, I guess this is just a different document. Go to color processing. So if I go back to mask images, all right, this one's already transparent too. But yeah, so you would just use the mask color processing, and then use mask. Use the mask color to select the color that you want to make transparent, and then hit OK, and you should be. That should do it. Got a bunch of different pages here. So like, yeah, the reason this one's already transparent, because if I grab this snapshot, right, you can see that those white lines have already been turned transparent. So that's why it doesn't work on this one. And I don't have a document just on hand just for that. And I don't know. Yeah, I would need to find one with, and I'm sure I have one. I just don't want to waste everyone's time while I dig through my my documents. Melissa's asking us, she says, we have struggled giving full control to external company attendee after a session is started. The attendee can't change the session expiration date or download the markup list despite having allow enabled everywhere, especially full control. So in a situation like that, you might be better off logging into the Bluebeam Studio portal at studio.bluebeam.com and then transferring ownership that way. And let's just see. So good thing everyone can see my passwords. Whenever something doesn't save my or let me use my saved passwords, I always get really upset. So I'm glad it does. So anyway, back to your session. So if you own a session, you can access this interface by going to studio.bluebeam.com. So I can go to my session, and then I can select reassign ownership. I'm not sure, this might have been what you did already, but you can reassign ownership to another user, and that should do it. And if it doesn't, then it might just be a limitation on what you can do with the sessions, because sessions can get a little bit weird when you start reassigning and assigning ownership of things. Some things can get a little wonky. So Lauren is asking about Bluebeam Studio again to ask if the set status properties be updated. For example, for an accepted status, markup change to gray. If not, do you have a recommendation for how a team could have the markup list show which markups have been picked up and visually show on the screen that the markup has been picked up? That's a good question. So what she's referring to is, if we go back to this session, right, we have these different statuses. I can set a status to, whatever, to like confirmed, not confirmed, whatever. And she wants to know if it's possible to have a visual indicator that the status has been updated, as well as in addition to the text over here. So from what I understand, the idea would be, okay, so this markup is red right now. When it's picked up by somebody, it turns yellow. And then when it's completed for review, let's say it turns green, right? Yeah, so that'll be kind of tough. If we go to manage status, let's go to modify. So yeah, actually, it looks like there is. So if we go into the manage status window, which you can access from the markup list, and then clicking the little manage status button, you'll notice that there's you can select the different models. So if I add a different model, call it demo for whatever, we'll add some states. So if I want to add picked up, or let's call it assigned to, and then we can add a color. So let's call assigned, let's make that yellow. And then let's do completed. We'll make this one blue. And then let's say we'll add another one. We'll call it approved. And we'll make this green. Did I make the other one green or make it blue? I forgot. It's blue. Okay. All right. And then what you can do is you can set the default status. So if I wanted to add a status, we'll call it unassigned. We'll make this red, and then we'll make that one the default. So a default status would be the status that you create a markup and it just has, right? So add that. So now see all the statuses turn to unassigned. And let's see if it turns green when I assign it. Where'd it go? Where was it even? Oh, up there. Okay, yeah, and so then it turned yellow. And when it's completed, turns blue. All right, awesome. So we all learned something today, that you can change the colors with the statuses. So very cool. Very hopefully that is what you were looking for. Now Roland is asking, once I've created an item and put it in my tools, for example, a circle with a green line and infill of red, can I change this red color without putting the item on the drawing, revising it, and again make a tool and replace it. Yeah, so that's that's actually a good question. So what he means is like, okay, so I have this up here in my recent tools, right? So let's take this stamp, for example. Let's move this to my tools. Let's move this to my tools. There we go. And what he wants to do is like, okay, can I change the way this looks without having to place it? Actually, I'll just let you know the quick answer is no. There's no way to modify it without going in there. So the way you would have to change that markup would be, okay, so you place the stamp, and let me change colors. Let's change red to blue. It doesn't automatically update in your tool chest, so you have to basically copy paste it. Oh no, it's still okay, so I'll have to right click, add to my tools, and still, well, oh, it's because it's a stamp. It's because that markup is a stamp. Everyone, I'm not crazy. That's just because it's a stamp. So let's take another markup. Let's make a box with fill this color. Okay, great. So now I have this. What I would do to have to change this is I would have to place this markup, change the fill color, and then add it back. There's no simple way to like you can I guess you can actually change the colors from recent tools. So in that situation you could do it like that. So there you go. But if you wanted to change the shape, you couldn't really do that. You would have to place the markup. So yeah, it looks like you can change the color. So for your specific example, yes, you can change the red color without putting the item on the drawing, revising it. So these are good questions. These let me really like flex my the limits of my Bluebeam knowledge. Okay, next question. Right, but what about installation and deployment to a large group of employees? Brett, let me see. What was I don't remember what the previous question was for Brett, so I apologize. Elijah is asking, saying his connection is spotty. Apologize if you said already. With license coming from the cloud, do you need internet connection to use Bluebeam? Or if so, can you check out a license to work offline? Okay, yeah. So you need the internet initially to at least register it. And from there, you can use it. If you lose internet connection, you'll have up to 14 days before it needs to check back in again. And essentially what will happen is like whenever it does have a connection, it'll ping it. So like if it's really spotty internet, let's say where you are, and the internet goes out for 2 days and it comes back for like an hour on one day, then in that hour it'll regenerate the license and reset the 14 days. So as long as you have some internet, within that time span, it'll reset the 14 days and start that anew. So hopefully that helps. Can we transfer files from Bluebeam Cloud to Studio? Are we able to upload or download files from Cloud with no license? There's right now is no direct way to link Studio and Cloud. I know that there's something coming down the line about to integrate those a little bit better, but right now they are being kept a little bit separate. Scott's asking if files are stored in Bluebeam Cloud, these files be available for syncing to the construction cloud, or do the files need to be local to the computer? I'm not super familiar with how the syncing works with construction cloud, but if the construction cloud is kind of like its own web browser based system, then there would be no way for those to talk to each other. The files would need to be local and then uploaded, I believe. But that's getting kind of into the weeds. So if you wanted to discuss offline, maybe I'll bring in one of my colleagues that's a little bit more versed on the Autodesk side of stuff to see what the solution might be. Okay, Anonymous is asking, is there any integration between Bluebeam and SharePoint? Do we need to install a new plugin on Bluebeam? I believe that Bluebeam already has some SharePoint integration. If we go to, well, I don't remember where exactly it is. So yeah, SharePoint. So there is some integration with SharePoint. And you can add, okay, yes, this is where you add the DMS, the document management systems that you might already have. So you can add your SharePoint site over here, and that should link up your SharePoint stuff. Has there been any progress in being able to print out what you have in your tool chest? Good question. I believe what you can do is you can export. No, that just exports it for uh, like to share it. Yeah, as far as I know, no way to like make a printout or copy of like of your tools like that. Can you please show how someone without Bluebeam license can upload or download files into the studio session? Well, yeah, I can actually. So if I sign out here, it will bring me make me unpaid mode. And then I can sign in. Okay, so I can't sign it. All right, I can try. I can't really show you what it looks like, but I can tell you that if you are invited to a studio session, then you should just be able to. Let me log back in now, and I have to type all this stuff out. Hold on. Okay, back to review studio. Give it a sec. But yeah, they should just be able to, if you give them permission, they should have the ability to upload and download files from the from the document panel. Uh, give it a sec. Anyway, next question. Melissa is saying she's aware of the transfer ownership. That isn't really what we want to do. We found that full control works for internal users, attendees, and they can do these things I referred to, but external users with the same permissions cannot. I've added these external users to our Prime account, but it did not matter. I thought maybe it is a limitation of Prime accounts, but can't confirm it anywhere. I'll reach out to Bluebeam and see if I can get an answer for you, Melissa. Okay. Okay, so Lauren is asking about the statuses again. So following up on that, on the status question. So I created that custom status, and she wants to know if I can do that within a session. The answer is no. That has to be set up before the session, because basically when a document is uploaded to a session, it's basically locked, right? So it's flattened essentially, and you cannot make any changes to the content of that PDF. So you would have to set that up, the statuses, before you upload it to the session. Once the statuses are associated inside the document, that becomes part of the document, then you can upload it to the session. Those will carry over. Like, for example, if I go back to my test session from before, you'll see that I cannot manage the statuses. I can only select from what was there when the document was uploaded, right? Because it's you're basically taking a snapshot of the document at the time from like the profile that it was uploaded from, and then you're working off of that. So if the status thing, system didn't exist, then when the document was uploaded, then it's not going to be there in the session. So it has to be done beforehand. Do external consultants with no Bluebeam license need to have Studio account in order to join Studio Session for uploading, downloading? Yes, they don't necessarily need a paid license, but they do need a Bluebeam Studio account, regardless of their licensing status. And then once they're in the session, so if I go to attendees, I go to permissions, and I have this set to allow adding documents, then they should be able to just click on this button here, and then they can upload whatever file they want. Scott's asking, when you move to the subscription model, does every licensed user need to register as a named user individually, or is there a way to batch load accounts in advance? There is a way to batch load accounts. Once you have the your org set up in the org admin portal, there is a template you can download that you can use to create a CSV that you upload with all of your users. So it should be pretty straightforward. There have been a few glitches with the system, but I believe everything is. I believe everything should be working. So yeah, you can batch upload. All right, Steven is asking, can I create an interactive stamp? For example, if I inserted our custom review stamp, I would like a menu to come up where I can select relevant information from a predetermined list for that particular instance, like accepted, rejected, or resubmit, and have it show up in the stamp. Great question. So stamps, if I let's select, let's modify engineering review, right? Excuse me. So you can see that there are checkboxes that I can add to this. So if I go to, oops. So I can add form fields to a stamp. So that's one way of doing what you want to do potentially. So I can add a drop down. So for example, if I wanted to make this, and let's call it I don't know, type. Right, then I'll add, you can add your types here. Should be able to add types there. Okay, there we go. So in the properties panel, then you can add your items here. So type 1, type 2, etc. And then you can select that. So if I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but you can also add dynamic text. So if I make like a little text box here, I can select dynamic, and then you can add, and these are pretty basic. So you can add a dynamic field for the day, the time, date, and this will just essentially update automatically. But that's about all that you're able to do as far as sort of do a dynamic fields, right? Okay.
Let me jump in here, David. So
yeah, go ahead.
we have about 4 minutes left.
Jeez.
I think that we can collectively answer Scott Thompson's question. His question is, when you move to the subscription model, does every licensed user need to register as a named user individually, or is there batch load accounts?
Yeah, I answered that already, actually.
So I just wanted to let him know that, let everybody know that Bluebeam 21 is single sign-on. So everybody will just assign their licenses to an email, and you'll be able to sign in on any device that you have Bluebeam downloaded on. And that's up to 3 devices with 1 account, correct?
Per user, yes, that's
Per
correct.
user.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And if you need to add your users en masse, you can do so via the bulk add users from the org admin page. And I think we got time for one more question. I've got a hard out at 1. So Alicia's asking, when printing, review doesn't automatically look at what size paper the document is set up as and wants to print at whatever size was last printed. Is there a setting for this? I have not experienced that. Let's see. Let's go to File, Print, and yeah, this one wants to print at size letter. What you could do is you could maybe set, just select auto, and then that should automatically select the page size based on the size of the page that it's being fed. And then you could choose under defaults, you can choose to save that as the default setting and have that pick up on that going forward. I think that should do what you're looking for. Because then if I keep scrolling through these pages, which I don't know, I think all these pages might be the same size. But I think that should do it. Auto will pick up on the size of the page based on the document over here, and it will size the printout accordingly.
All right.
All right. And with that, I think we can wrap everything up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Bluebeam at microsolresources.com, as well as any of the people that I said I would check in with after the webinar. Please feel free to shoot me an email to remind me. There's a lot of questions today and a lot of attendees. I really appreciate everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, David, for always doing such an amazing job answering all these questions. And Michael as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, this was great. We will have more of these Bluebeam office hours and other partners as well. So please keep checking our emails. We'll be sending it over to you guys. And thank you so much for joining us. If you want a certificate of completion and a learning unit, please email us at marketing@microsolresources.com, and I'll provide that for you, as well as the recording of this. We will not be posting it on our tech resources on our website, but I can send you a link, and you can a YouTube link, and you can view it just to review it. All right. Again, this is Brenda Roge. I'm the training marketing coordinator here, and I appreciate everyone for joining. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.